good evening, man. Twice in 2 weeks, or I guess a week. Good to see you guys. We are full throttle into April, and I hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing awesome. I just got finished playing with our 10-year-old, 10-month-old. I heard that the time does fly, but it has not flown that much. 10-month-old baby girl, and it is so fun. But that's a whole other story. I just love. It's our first one. It's the best. It's the best. Love it. So just finished playing with her and come in here to talk to you guys and talk to you about a couple different things. And I wanted to kind of piggyback on what I talked about last week, talking about the market, talking about what's happening in the market right now. But um, there is some interesting new information, new data that came out about March's data that I think it tells a little bit of a story that can be conflicting, like prices maybe dropping. And I think it's not really a cautionary tale, but more so just I want to be able to make sure you have an accurate perspective on what numbers mean, how important it is to look at numbers for making decisions about buying houses, but also which numbers. And if you look at a snapshot of a market of data, how accurate is that in relation to what is really happening in the current market? And so talk to you about that. I want to talk to you also about some neighborhoods that I like in specific spots in Virginia Beach. I just wanted to add that to what we were talking about, because I do think that I've had some people ask me questions about outdoor activities, and that's why I brought up rec centers, because I do think the rec centers in Virginia Beach are one of the most underserved or under recognized benefits to being a citizen of Virginia Beach. And so I want to talk to you about some neighborhoods I like around each one, because there are 7 rec centers, and being near any of them is super helpful. Not only the fact that it's cheaper than the YMCA, you're paying just over $100 a year per person. That at YMCA you can't touch that. You're talking 3 times, 4 times more than that. But also you're going to get a lot of the same amenities, and you have 7 of them, so you're going to be close to one of them depending on where you are in the Virginia Beach area. So number one is we're going to go back to talking about the market right now and talk to you about some numbers that I think are interesting. Now, the new data came out in April, and if you look at, and I talk a lot about the median sales price of an area, right? So if you're planning on looking and you're moving to the area, you're trying to figure out when's the right time to buy. Is it time, is it March, April, May, June? Like if you're coming here for trying to time it for schools, and also how do I make the right decision for when to buy? Okay, well, I always say something like, by the way, and just so, just to follow up, if you can make some comments, I'll throw it up on the screen here. And not so bad news. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not bad. I hope it's not bad news. I didn't come here to necessarily tell bad news, but yeah. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to let me know. I like Virginia Beach. Hey, love that. I like a lot of the cities in Hampton Roads. I like Newport News a lot, especially the western side of Newport News. I like Williamsburg. I like Chesapeake. I like Norfolk. I like Virginia Beach. I like each one, a lot of them for different reasons, but like you might hear my enthusiasm for this area because I grew up here. But on the flip side, I do feel like there are some specific drawbacks to every city that I think get either overlooked or just, people often focus on the cool things or the nice things. Oh, you come to this city for, the beach, or for, the vibes in Ghent or whatever. But man, there are always drawbacks, right? And to me, if you're researching an area to live, it's always important to find balance. And it's not a matter of like, you're not trying to paint an overly negative or positive picture. Just give me what's accurate. And that's kind of what I try and do here, right? That's I'm trying to tell you like what I see from having grown up here and grown up in the area, known so many people in the area. So, and of course, helping people move here from so many different parts of the country and the world, and getting different perspectives on what they see when they come here, as far as like it's their first time. How do they respond and how do they feel about the area when they get here? I've talked to some people that move here and don't like it. Especially like places like Chesapeake. You go to Chesapeake, and if you're not used to the country, and, even though necessarily I like Chesapeake a lot, I spent a lot of time in Chesapeake, but there are a lot of parts in Chesapeake that are in the middle of nowhere. It feels like it. It might not even be that far away from stuff, but just the feeling of it is just that much away to where you're like, man, I don't know if I made the right decision. That happens. And some people feel like Virginia Beach is too busy, or Norfolk is just too old, and fill in the blank thing. Williamsburg is kind of too relaxed or slow paced. So each city has a drawback. And so it's not a matter of, it's not a bad thing. Everywhere, there's always a give and take. So we'll talk about all that in all the videos I make, and you can kind of go through my library, and I try and give as accurate a perspective on everywhere as I possibly can. So Tommy, hey Tommy again, Chesapeake potential. If your question, if it's a comment of like Chesapeake has potential, absolutely. I'm going to be doing a video about Greenbrier here pretty soon that I think is going to be very in depth about specifically Greenbrier, and there's some new stuff going on in Greenbrier that I think is worth mentioning too. But Greenbrier in Chesapeake, we'll talk about that in future videos. But if you want to say where you're coming from, I'd love to hear more about where you were coming from. Like, interested in moving to here for any reason, work, play, whatever. Cool. Yeah. Just any information you have, I'd love to know more about you guys. And I love you guys. And I'm so grateful for all of you. And just as a side note, I feel grateful to be able to do this every week. And it means a lot to know that people are coming here to the area, but can appreciate what I had to say about it. Because I do really want to be able to give people the right guidance to move here, yeah, I do too. Virginia Beach, right? Eiley, yeah, I love it. So going back to the market, I'm talking to you about like, okay, when do you move? Well, interestingly enough, so a lot of the information that we get as real estate agents often comes from the past month, right? So the data that you see now is from the past month. So it's not necessarily accurate from the perspective of it's not real time, which is one of the reasons why I want to mention this. Lady Night Queen, hey, I love you from New Jersey. Very nice. You live there now. Are you moving here? All that fun. Cool. I help a lot of people move from New Jersey, New York, Northeast. My mom's from Maine, by the way. Anyways, so the real estate market, if you look at the statistics, I'm going to share my screen and show you what the current data that shows in April, what's happening in the March timeframe. This is new information that came in. Median sales price in Virginia Beach, $463,000. Okay. So what I want to show you is that if you zoom in, it's like, okay, well, February's pricing was higher. Now we're seeing a drop. And the thing people often say is, well, what's happening? What does that mean? What does that drop indicate? Are the prices actually dropping? Well, what I want to mention is that the reality is it's not that simple, because what often happens, and John, I see your question there, comment there, and I'll go back to that. Great comment, by the way. One thing that often happens is that the data that is often shown it's based on a snapshot of the market. And a snapshot of the market shows data from information based on houses that specifically have sold. And what you'll find is that depending on which houses sell in a given month, you might have a variety of final median or average numbers. And there are different definitions there, but median numbers for sales prices. And so what you'll see is that sometimes you'll see, okay, well, median sales prices dropped in March. Well, does that mean the market dropped, or does that just mean that different houses sold enough to where the total amount of houses that sold in Virginia Beach, they just had lower sales prices, happened to be lower sales prices in March? Well, if you notice that the trend let's go back to, how do I get back into, the trend for pricing still trends upward, right? So if you look and you see every year you'll see one drop, usually every 2 or 3, twice a year. You'll see a drop like in June, like May to June. That's a random drop. It's like, well, why did that drop? Well, it dropped fully all the way down, but that's kind of a surprise. But sometimes you'll find like these little blips, right? These little blips, but it doesn't necessarily indicate a general trajectory. And so what you'll notice though is that the thing I want you to see is the top of the next highest high point. As it keeps increasing, that still tells you, generally speaking, that the trend is still heading in a certain direction. So that's where we're at right now. And so you notice, like, I'm helping a lot of people right now that are moving here in February, or from February, March, April, May, June. and you're still seeing a lot of houses that are going over sales price, over asking price. And that's going to continue into May and June. Not every house by any stretch, but a lot of houses. And so what you'll find is that these median sales prices are still going to kind of trend upward until we get to June, July. And that's where we'll start seeing a drop into the the late summer into the fall months. Every year it does that. But what I want to talk to you about also is the correlation between this. You see this trend, and you almost see like a shoot up in the late 2019, 2020. Now we also know what happened in 2020, but I'm going to show you a chart that almost shows a correlation between this and that number. You can almost look and say, okay, as one number increases, the other one often the trend follows the other number. You got median sales price and the month supply of inventory. Okay, now I've shown you this graph before if you've watched any of my videos before, but I see all the comments. Very cool. Love it. And I'll answer all your comments or respond back to all you guys. I love it. Thank you so much for the comments and questions. So this month supply of inventory, you'll notice that until we got to about 2016, 17, 18, like that 12, 13, 14 range, you'll see that the trend line was pretty consistent. And the top level was pretty consistent from 13, 14, 15, 16. Even before then, you even started to see in the 2012 range, it was kind of ranging, right? And it didn't start dropping until 15 into 16. So 16, you started seeing a kind of general drop down a bit, and then it kind of trended for a bit down in like the 2 or 3 and 4 range. And this number is the amount of houses on the market, to where if nothing else hits the market, how long will it take to sell the houses on the market? It shows you how much inventory, or it's a fancy way of saying amount of houses that there are available that are all listed right now to buy. And so the higher the number is, it means that there are more houses available. The higher the number generally means that there is a supply relative to demand. There is more supply than there is demand, generally speaking. But you start seeing in the 2016 into 17, that number starts dropping, and then going into 19 and 20, boom, drops down straight down from 19, 20. And that's where you get, I mean, again, we know what happened in the last 5 years. And then it just has been sitting there in the 1s and 2s for the last 5 years. And that's where prices really started going up. And if you go back to median sales price, you'll see that what happened. That's weird. Okay. You'll start seeing that. Remember that range I was talking to you about from 12, 13, 14, and 2015? Look at the correlation, 12, 13, 14, 15. It was in that same general range. It was going up a little bit, but not too much. And then 16, you started seeing that line break. And then 18, 19, and then 19 into 20, boom, shoots up. And then once the inventory line stayed the same, this is a low amount of houses on the market. And as the amount of houses stays low, what happens to the houses, the prices of houses? It still goes up. So it's not that the inventory staying low means eventually it will just taper off. If there are not a lot of houses on the market, that means that there's a greater chance that there are more people that want houses than there are houses available. So even in 2012, 13, it was still trending up, but I would argue to say it was trending up, in a pretty relatively normal. Even when I started in 2006, I was thinking, hey, generally speaking, inflation is about 3%. That's kind of what you'd find in that range, is increase of about 3-ish%. And since then, boom. So my point is that we are still in month supply of inventory. Even though the prices look like the median sales prices dropped, we're still in that 1.8 for March inventory range. It's low, and it's going to probably drop down into the 1.5, back down into 1.2, 1.3, somewhere in there, I would guess, in the April, May-ish time period. Now, what we'll then see is, as we go into the summer, winter months, what happens as that number goes back up again? Because if you notice, it goes up every fall because there are less people that want houses every fall into the wintertime. Great time to buy a house. But again, great time to buy a house. However, it's still going to be more expensive relative to the springtime because they're pricing houses in the fall based on when houses were selling in the spring and summertime. So my point is not to talk about that. It's to say that we are still in a low amount of houses market. That is very important because as we get into the rest of springtime, it's going to be pretty competitive and stay competitive. So I talked about this in the last video. Be patient, but be ready and be aggressive for the right house, because you can look at comps all you want. The way that appraisers look at houses and comparable sales and the way that they value houses is going to be based on past information, because that's all they can go off of. It's not their fault. It's what they've got to go off of. And in doing that, you're looking at old information, right? So if you got a April house that you're buying, well, the comparable sales that they're looking at are probably from houses being sold in March, in February, in January. And that might be old information because the market's changed, number one, and also it's a different season. So I would not just rely on what the comparable sales say to determine what you want to offer. In fact, I'm not saying throw caution to the wind, but that can be a very dangerous way to lose a house, because if you're focusing on the past information, we're in a new ball game every spring or as the market changes. So if there are multiple offers on a house, you got to be ready to be aggressive. And sometimes that multiple offer situation means, hey, I want a house that people want. That means when it's time to sell again, good chance that I am going to list a house that people want. That's a good thing. But it's harder to get those houses, but it's easier to sell them a lot of times also. So all I have to say is, please make sure you get, again, I mean, getting a good real estate agent, of course. If you already have one, great. Hug them, whatever you want to do to show appreciation to them. They love that. Well, the hug part, maybe not. The appreciation part for sure, because it's hard work. But make sure you get somebody who can give you good advice and don't want to suggest, they want to suggest to go crazy, but to be aggressive in the right way for the right house. And that is really, really important. So anyway, going back to your comments, I'll take a break here for a minute and answer some of your questions or make some comments. John M., I noticed some townhomes in Chesapeake, Virginia Beach are a lot less per square. Do you want to keep looking at this graph? You don't. Hi. I noticed some townhomes in Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. If you want the graph, tell me and I'll take my face off of this. Are a lot less per square foot than these single family homes. I noticed some townhomes in Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, a lot less per square foot. Yeah, I mean, that happens. A lot of times what you're paying for is, you can get a better value for a house, bigger house, for less money for townhouses and condos, especially. That's what people often pivot to if they want a bigger house, but they don't want to pay as much. Great example. I love this example. And I'm going to just show you if you are from here, you'll know. If you're moving here, you might love this area as an example of a really great affordability location for the size of house that you get. I love this neighborhood. It's not a big neighborhood, but it's a great one. It's called Lake James, but it's the townhouse side of Lake James next to hello. There you go. See, I'm not sharing the screen. Someone's going to say, hey, share the screen. Forgive me. Look at me with my lack of, there we go. Sharing it. Okay. So let's zoom out again. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Williamsburg, Newport News. Okay. So here we are, Virginia Beach. We're going to zoom into Farrell Parkway over to Lake James. Okay. Lake James, I've talked about in other videos. I love Lake James, one of the best lakes in Virginia Beach. But this area right here, this townhouse section right here there's just townhouses. Actually, I'm just going to show you because look at those. Okay. So this is a very central location. There aren't a lot of townhouses around here. The reason I like these townhouses is because you can get townhouses in here for like the 21 to 2,000 square foot range, maybe a little bit more than that. 4 bedrooms. As you walk up, so these floor plans, one of them, a good example here is this stairs up. There's a garage on the first floor. You've got a landing here. You got a kitchen here. Behind there is a living space. And then going down on the back behind the garage is a bedroom. And then up here are 3 more bedrooms. 4 bedrooms with a garage. It's a townhouse that's not a condo. And you're going to be in the 350, 360 range. That same type of house in a single family variety is going to be more like 400, maybe even more than that, but in that range, because 2,000 square feet in Virginia Beach is I'd say even 415, 425 because of where it is. So that's value, right? And so, yeah, you can get more house per square foot townhouse, that's a great example of that. And that's one of the reasons why, if you want to me, a more in-demand neighborhood, more house for your money, all that stuff, I think this is a great example, or a good idea of, you can find that if you don't mind giving up the yard. You got to give up the size yard. You're going to have the townhouse size yard, or the condo. You're not going to have maybe a yard at all, common areas, and that might be it. So I'm a big fan of townhouses personally. If you're okay with that, I understand the whole, like, hey, you've got neighbors right close to you, but you can get some good examples of some spots that it really can work out well. Especially, I mean, I love that Lake James area, so for example. So to answer your question or comment, yeah, that happens a lot. It's a great hack to get more house, better location, more in-demand location for your money is the townhouses. Kathleen, hey, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Greetings to you too. Hope you're doing well. Hope all things into the springtime are going as planned. Ali Main, phones. Yes, I love phones. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of phones. Too much phone time, it gets a little bit distracting. So, can I get connected with life, right? I was just thinking about that today. Kind of feel like maybe getting off the phone as much would be a good idea. Hey, Sam, watching from Long Island, New York. Awesome. I love that. I've helped someone from the Long Island, actually, to move to Virginia Beach and the beach area of all places. Very cool. John M., the trend is still generally way up. Yeah, I agree. That trend in the last couple of months tells me, okay, I'm going to see what happens in the next few months as far as how high up it goes. But I'm not seeing, I'm still seeing the same stuff. Not like 2021, 22, like that when that graph was going way up. But I'm still seeing, I mean, if you're in Virginia Beach and you're at 400, 450, 500, 600, you're going to have some competition. If it's listed well, priced well, it shows well. So if you're moving here, be prepared, and that's okay. But just be prepared. I live in North New Jersey. I want to move to Virginia. I visit one time Williamsburg, Virginia. Very cool. Williamsburg. I fell in love with the state. Very nice. I've been watching your videos in different areas. Very, very cool. I love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your support. And yeah, that's great. And please, thanks for watching more, and hope you can move here. What city sells more? Chesapeake. Do you mean more than Chesapeake, or does Chesapeake sell more than what? Chesapeake sells pretty well. It's pretty competitive, as is Virginia Beach. I guess I'll leave it at that. And if you can give any more clarity on that, it'd be great. Hey, Bill, good to talk to you. Good to see you. And Katie, yeah, good to, I've talked to family and your family in the last few days. Very happy to do that. And it's great. You guys are awesome. Ali, Mr. Ed Mill. Oh, Red Mill. Red Mill. Yeah, Red Mill's great. Isaiah. Hey, Isaiah. Watching from Carrollton. Yeah. Love the Carrollton. If you've never heard of Carrollton, Carrollton's over in the Suffolk Smithfield area, over towards the James River Bridge, if you have not seen that. How bad is the flooding in Old Town? Ooh, specifically in the north side by Crawford Levy Park. All right, so one of my most hilarious flooding stories came from Old Town, me going to Old Town and going to, I went to a restaurant, and I was driving an old blue truck, and I'll even show you where I was, and it's to give you a context of how, Sam, share the screen. You got to share the screen. Show you where I was in Old Town and how I need to find the old video. It was like 12 years ago. So I think at this point, maybe 10 years ago, I don't know if the video even can show up on phones anymore. I need to find it though. So if you see where Old Town is here, Portsmouth, which I love Old Town, I just have a soft spot in my heart for Portsmouth and Old Town. A lot of stories in that area. So High Street is like the main drag in Old Town, right? So there was a restaurant, and I think it's a taco place. What was the taco place that I went to? Is it still there? 619 Cantina may have been what it used to be. It may have used to have been there. I think it's gone. Well, maybe it was a 619 Cantina. Drop a pin. I think it was Burrito Bar. There it is. Yeah, it was 619 Cantina. I was there. This is like, maybe it was 8 years ago. I had a truck parked right here in front of the kitchen coop right here. And I don't know what was going on. My friend and I were there at this burrito place. We were just trying it because we wanted to try different places. And you notice that the doors are like on sea level, or on not sea level, but on the ground, which I guess that's how most doors are. But it poured. It poured. Downpour, and it was the first time I actually was introduced to high street flooding to that degree. And we were kind of stuck, and it was just a deluge. And we were in the restaurant, and it was the first time I felt like I was trapped in a restaurant and saw the waters outside rise up to where I was thinking, I don't know if I can get out of here. And then I'm like, is it going to go into the restaurant? Like, what's going on? So we were in there for a little while. Like, it was, I mean, it wasn't like, it was newsworthy for us in the area because it doesn't happen very often. But the waters were up probably to maybe my knees. Maybe no, it was above my knees. It was like close to my thighs. It was like, I mean, I'm not a tall guy, but it's probably about 2 feet ish. I walked through. I was recording it. I recorded all of myself walking to the was it that? Yeah, there were spots where it was pretty high up into the median area. And it eventually kind of calmed down, but I finally made my way over to the truck. It was a blue truck. It wasn't my truck, which it made, I mean, I felt even worse, but it was a truck, which thank goodness, because the truck was higher, and got in the truck and finally left. But it took a while. And to answer your question, it can flood here. I still don't necessarily wouldn't say that it's like crazy all the time, because that was a very unique scenario. And I remember it being that bad since then. But it was on the news, I think. I feel like I could have sent my video into the news and it probably would have picked it up. But, take the good with the bad. I love Old Town. You kind of be aware of the area around here, that there are some low-lying points of town. I have a very close friend of mine that grew up in West Parkview on Spratley Street. I don't remember it ever being that bad over here, so that's why it's very location specific. Man, I'm telling you, man, I love parts of Portsmouth, but that's a whole other different story. But if that answers your question, it has some spots that can be a little low-lying and can be some issues. What was I going to say? Okay, so I hope that answers your question. If you have any more follow-up questions, let me know. How's Kempsville? Love Kempsville. One of my favorites for the price is in Kempsville, to be honest with you. I just love Kempsville. And there's a rec center in Kempsville we'll talk about in a minute. I don't know. I want to mispronounce your name. Hui Wen. I think the last name is pronounced Wen. Hello, I visited again a few weeks ago after watching your channel. Cool. Beautiful old houses there. Yes, I love Ghent for that reason. A lot of old houses there. Some other cool places that are not in Ghent that have similar old houses, but I did a lot of videos on that too if you are ever interested and want to relocate here too. But anyways, KS, hey, anytime I speak to a realtor or lender, they say, give up the dream. There's no down payment assistance here. I don't know if I'd say here, or, I mean, it's a loan specific thing. There are areas that do offer that for specific cities or areas in the cities. That can pop up in some parts of town, but it's not common. And yeah, I wouldn't wait around for that, I guess, to be honest with you, but I'm sorry to say, but yeah, there are some specific parts of town that might have that. It's a lender question, not a me question in that scenario, because it can depend on lender opportunities from my experience. John, are hurricanes sometimes a problem in the Virginia Beach area? Oh man, great question. So hurricanes, long story, to answer your question, yes, but not from what you see on the news. And the reason is because of how Virginia Beach and the region is situated in relation to other parts of the country. So what I mean is that if you look at the map, you'll see that, zooming out, that a lot of, if you go back and look at, as you talk about, look into the news as we get into hurricane season, you'll see a lot of hurricanes that start in the Gulf of America. I cannot believe I'm saying that now. Gulf of America in here, and that's one part of the season. Then also going into the Atlantic Ocean, and a lot of hurricanes spawn off of Africa and go south in the southern part of the Atlantic Ocean, North Atlantic Ocean, and eventually hit their way through the Caribbean and then back up, and they curve up, or they go straight into Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, even North Carolina. But you see where we are. We are blocked by North Carolina. So a lot of hurricanes, they will come inland, and they will come up, but the eye makes landfall somewhere in the south or southeastern, part of the country. So by the time it gets to us, we get a drastically diminished or reduced strength hurricane. So if it's a category 2 in the Myrtle Beach, for example, Charleston, down in the southern parts here, it might become a tropical depression or like a 50, 60 mile an hour gust situation where we are. It really depends on where the eye enters the coast and how much landfall it covers before it gets to us, and where the low pressure system that might come from the west to east and pushes it back out to shore. There's a lot of variables there, but the point is that yes, it can affect us, but a lot of times they could be wind events, but not as drastic as you might see on the news, or just rain events where it's not even noticeable. It's noticeable, but not noteworthy for the national news. So it can happen, but it's not drastic. The last major storms in my experience had been Hurricane Matthew, 2016, I think. There's one more I'm forgetting, like 2019, 18. If you remember in your local, you might remind people and put it in the comment section. But every few years, Isabel was the most intense one. I remember 2005. I was working at Founders Inn, a hotel, and I was a not unique. It was a essential personnel. I was in guest services, and I stayed there for a couple of days and helped guests in that area because it was the worst I think I've seen ever here, and that was like category 2. So it can happen, but it depends on how the other weather patterns affect the area around here. So haven't heard anything recently, but is Ocean View better as well as flooding? I like Ocean View for what the trajectory is in the future. Is flooding still an issue in parts of it? I'm a fan, though, and generally speaking, you're still seeing the cheapest ocean front or ocean area property for which you can pay really anywhere to meet in the south side of Hampton Roads. And it's not as expensive as for example, in Hampton, Buckrow Beach, but you definitely see a drastic difference in what you get around there. But I like Buckrow Beach and Hampton a lot for ocean access as well. So John, I think the Florida hurricanes are much worse, especially recently. I wouldn't have experience in the Florida side, but I can imagine based on the news, that's definitely that's true. I'm so sorry. They say not in Virginia Beach. What not in Virginia Beach? Down payment assistance. Oh yeah, DPA, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Newport News. So yeah, that can happen. There are some spots where that does exist. Hi Sam. Hey Fish. Cypress, Texas. Very cool. Listening on my way back from church. Awesome. Can't wait to live in the area soon. Awesome. Woohoo. Where are you planning to move? Are you planning to move to Virginia Beach or Hampton, Newport News? Where? Smithfield? Carrollton? What are Kempsville Lakes? That's an area that is in the kind of the central part of Kempsville. Townhouses primarily. You'll see some townhouses that are garage that are good for the price in the mid 3s, or townhouses that aren't in garages in the low 3s, maybe even sneaking into the upper 2s for the lowest size houses in there. Love the apartments and apartments. Sorry, I just if you're listening with your headphones on the way to church, I apologize. From church, but yeah. They're low price. You don't really see any single family houses in there, but it's very accessible, closest to 264. Great location. I think one of the best values for townhouse style, as opposed to maybe like Lake James for the bigger ones. Kempsville Lake is, I think, one of the nicest for the price in Virginia Beach without having to pay a big HOA fee. You get a small one. I think it's like $35 ish. Check on that, but good for the price. I like that. So all pro lemon. I saw some data. Virginia Beach is now losing population since 2020. Very surprising. Wonder who left and where they went. I have not seen that. I feel like it's kind of stagnant, and part of that's to me because there aren't a lot of, not a lot of new construction, and people come and go. So I don't know what that. I've not heard of any people leaving relative to coming in. I've not seen it really change much in a while. But I don't know. You could be right. I now realize that my username is not my name. Probably yes. Hello, not fish, but fish. Probably somewhere around Lansdowne. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Love Lansdowne. Some great house styles. Lansdowne Meadows is great for the price near Lansdowne Commons. Anyway, I digress, but some good areas over there. Now, we're 35 minutes into this. I don't want to keep you forever. I still want to talk about the areas that I think are great near rec centers. If this is important to you, even if you don't like the rec center area or dynamic, I think these neighborhoods I have not mentioned much at all in the past. So I think it'll be worth mentioning in now. So even if you don't care about the rec centers, it'll be helpful because these are in different price ranges. So, and I'll be generally brief because I'm going to be very mindful of your time. So top five, it's not top five, top seven. I can't change it now. So a top seven because there are 7 rec centers, 7 neighborhoods. So we're going to start and I'll show you on the map. The first one is Williams Farm. Williams Farm is, I want to show you actually where all the locations are because it makes it easier for you. Whoops. Oh, where are all? There we go. So Williams Farm, zooming in on Williams Farm. Williams Farm is close to Newtown Road, and Newtown Road is over in the northwestern part of Virginia Beach, close to Wesleyan Drive. And there it is right there. Okay. So looking at Williams Farm, why did I even do that? I just use this one. So Newtown Road kind of goes in a loop around there. You know, you find some hit and miss spots here as far as demand of neighborhoods. But one of the ones I like for, where is it? Where's my thing? There it is. For Williams Farm is Ridgely Manor. Okay. Where is Ridgely Manor? Can anyone use rec centers or are they part of an HOA? If you're a resident of Virginia Beach, you can pay to get into the rec centers for a very low price, like $120 a year per person, I think. Check that to make sure, but it's low. But you get a lot of things similar to YMCA, for example, but it's right. They're very nice. They redeveloped a lot of these. Not sharing. Oh, okay. Why don't you want to share? Sharing is caring. I don't know what you mean by that, but Ridgely Manor, this is a condo neighborhood that is very close to the rec center itself. So if you go just north, you see Southmore Drive. All through here, you'll find, where am I going up there? Where are we at? There we are. Ridgely Manor Boulevard. These are neighborhoods that are, can I share my screen? I'm bouncing around here. I apologize. I'm going to show you where there and drop a pin. Where we go. Okay. This is a very large area and I'm going to show you part of what you can see here. You see different types of condos around here. Now, the reason I'm even mentioning this is because it is one of my favorite neighborhoods for the price condo wise in anywhere in this part of Virginia Beach or even Virginia Beach period. You'll find condos in here in the 3s and 4s. But there's a really nice neighborhood or set of neighborhoods for the price also. But if you go in the back of the neighborhood, you get some area houses built like $1 million and up in the very back. So the aerial view, you'll see those, some set apart. See those? Awesome houses. Big ones, looking more custom for what you get. But Ridgely Manor is one of my favorites, closest to Williams Farm Rec Center. And you can technically, I guess, walk there if you have the gumption. You know, it's going to be kind of hard. You have to kind of go around because these roads don't connect. This one does, but it stops down here. So you kind of have to kind of hop through. I would suggest going around, but it's not that far. So a lot of variety here. It's more of a high aesthetic neighborhood. But if you want that type of thing, condo wise, it's good for the price. So Williams Farm, that's number 1. Number 2. Anybody have comments, questions? Oh, not sharing my screen. Oh, am I sharing it now? I am sharing it now. Thank you for telling me that. I think the screen is not sharing. Got it. Towers 6. I think that is apartments. I'm not sure where that is, to be honest with you. Thank you for reminding me. I need some help sometimes, guys. So the next one, it goes from Williams Farm over to banners, Bayside, Bayville Park. Okay, so people like the north part of Virginia Beach a lot. And man, I apologize for this back and forth here because I'm zooming around. Bayside Rec Center is the next one. Now, I like Bayside because it is close to Chicks Beach. It's close to Thorogood. So I was going to say Thorogood was my favorite, but I talk about Thorogood a lot. I wanted to mention another one that doesn't get mentioned very much. And between Bayville Golf Club, Bayville Farms Park with a disc golf course, and Bayville Rec Center is this neighborhood right here, which is Bayville Park or Bayville Farm Park. Or Bayville Park, I'm sorry. And these are not very like the prices are not very expensive relative to what you're close to. They're just not very big either. So we're going to go to Bayville Farm. There's the neighborhood right here. I'm going to drop a pin. You can see what I'm talking about. Clyde Street. These are in the 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house size range. You can find them in the 3s and 4s right now. And you're paying for location. It's not a very big house, not a very nothing to write home about from the standpoint of they're kind of your basic house, but for the price location wise, it's one of the most underrated because it's tucked away between a bunch of parks, a bunch of interstate or major highways, and also close to Chicks Beach, which is very popular as well. So the rec center close by here is Bayside. You're right close to Bayside. I mean, it's so close you can I guess hop through the woods. I mean, I want to tell you to do that craziness, but you can go around and through the crosswalk, and you're right here. There is the access to Bayville Rec Center, right, or Bayside Rec Center right there. So, and these are all, again, a lot of similar things: pool, weights, a lot of things like that. Inside, a lot of play areas, classes. You'll find a lot of similar stuff in a lot of these rec centers. So you can check that out. Basketball court or general rec area inside. So like that, if you want, keep the prices a little bit lower and you want to be closer to a lot of cool stuff, Chicks Beach, etc. I like the Bayville Park area for that reason. I think it gets overlooked, but very few houses hit the market in here, which is, I think, another reason why. I mean, people like it because it's affordable. Sorry, Towers on Shore Drive. Yeah, over closer to near Chicks Beach, closer to Lesnar Bridge, I think, if I'm following correctly. Are they hidden North Carolina gems? I don't know North Carolina as much like Virginia, so I have to be honest with you. So I have people that I know that better than me. So to be honest with you, I don't have a good answer for you for that. Now going to the next one. It was over in Great Neck. Great Neck is over near Cox High School, Great Neck Rec Center. So the one I like there is Broad Bay. So going back to Broad Bay Estates. There we go. This is a bigger neighborhood. So we're going to zoom over here. Great Neck, if you're looking at Great Neck, it's one of the most expensive price per square foot areas in the region. This one has quick access to the park itself or the rec center itself. These are going to be in the 8s, 9s, over $1 million pretty easily. So if you're looking in Great Neck, this is an access to Cox High School pretty easily. Broad Bay Park is over here. And then of course, Great Neck has the rec center is just south of here. So the lot sizes are great in Broad Bay Estates. I think it gets overlooked a lot because I do talk about Wimbledon, which is right next to it. But this is, 3,000 square foot, 3,500 square foot, 20, like mid to upper 2,000s, just north of Great Neck Rec Center. And you can take a road from the neighborhood all through the trees. There's Falcon Crescent, which is Cox Falcons. That's why they call it that. You can walk over through here. You can't drive through here. You can take the road pathway when it's open over to the rec center, or you can go around the other way. There's the Cox High School over here. Go around and there's the park or the rec center right here. So I like that. I like the park access around here. They get the pavilion. I like all of that, and it's cool because you're not off the main road like you might see in some other parts and other rec centers. You're kind of tucked away. You're close to the school, but it's not that close to the main road, for example. So that's number 3. Now going to the next one. Going to go down south a little bit. SeaTac. SeaTac is over near the beach. So SeaTac is an area that has a lot of weird neighborhoods near it. So this is, if you do plan to move here and you're looking at cheaper areas that are near the beach, you'll see places around SeaTac. And so it's not just about being close to the rec center, but just keep in mind that this area definitely has some places that feel different than what you would expect a beach place to feel like. Where am I at? There. Where is SeaTac Rec Center? I'm not used to seeing it in the overhead. There it is. Okay. Should be right here. Where am I missing it? Guys, there it is. Rec Center right there. So there's Bird Neck. There is Norfolk Avenue. If you go down this direction, you'll end up over towards the beach, which is great. Some great condos over here, over towards off Norfolk Avenue, and then you're going to have that bike path being built off of Norfolk Avenue as well that connects over towards the beach. Great, but the rec center over here is in an area that definitely has like an older vibe. It kind of feels a little more run down and also a little more towards like beachy and construction. See the construction? This is a very construction-y part of town and old house kind of part of town. So what I like about the area I like in SeaTac is Shadow Lawn, because Shadow Lawn, if to just knowing more about the area, if you head towards Norfolk Avenue, Shadow Lawn, take a right and you're going to go down into Shadow Lawn over here. In the Shadow Lawn area, you're going to find more in the 6s and up range. You might find them in the 5s and even 4s closer to the Vibe District, but it's more of a beachy neighborhood. It's not that close to where you can like just spit and hit the ocean, but you can see golf carts around here. It's more of a neighborhood vibe, and it's not that far away from the ocean. You can get there without having to drive a car if you wanted to, and a lot of variety in houses around here. It's it's a mixed bag when it comes to types of houses, but that's what makes it fun, right? It's a unique type of neighborhood. I love it. I love that type of vibe in an area like that. And you're close to Rudy Inlet. You can get close to even Croatan, but you're also close to the park, close to the rec center as you get over to the other side of where we at again. There's Bird Neck. As you get over closer to Bird Neck. And so again, a lot of these other neighborhoods, if you want to be close, fine. If you want to be away from the beach and get a cheaper house, fine. But I think that one of the things that people find is that when they're looking at a place that's close to the beach, they think that this area closer to the beach is closer than it actually is. And so you'll find like, wow, it's cheap beach access. Well, just pump the brakes on that. Just be careful about what your expectations are from beach access relative to how close it is to the actual beach itself and how expensive, how cheap the houses are. Just ask yourself the question, ask yourself, why is it that cheap? Right? Okay. So moving towards Red Mill Farm, Princess Anne. Okay. Princess Anne, and I can't share. That's right. You can't see me move over here. Princess Anne, and I see a lot of people mention Woodhouse Corner. Woodhouse Corner it's funny. I've never heard of any local or me say the words Woodhouse Corner, but it's very commonly referenced now because it says that on Google. I don't know why, but I know that now. Just know that if you say it to a local, they might look at you funny because it's not really I've never heard that really mentioned by the locals, but it's over towards General Booth and Nemo Parkway, over closer to Red Mill, which is an awesome neighborhood. Red Mill Commons is right here. So why do I mention that? It's because the Princess Anne Rec Center is right here. It's a great rec center. It's all over closer to Nemo Parkway and over closer to what am I missing? There's a school. I'm drawing a blank. Corporate Landing is over here. Anyways, doesn't matter. My point is it's close to Red Mill. Red Mill Farm and Red Mill Commons are very close to here. Red Mill Farm is right here over just north of Red Mill Boulevard. It's actually kind of around there a lot more. And then Red Mill Commons is close to all the awesome kind of the Greenbrier-esque shopping that I'll mention in my Greenbrier video. I'll mention that as far as a correlation between Virginia Beach and Greenbrier. This is a great area for nice shopping, more big boxes, but the Red Mill Farm neighborhood is really, really nice. 5s and 6s is where you'll mostly find them. Nice, like the trees, great. I just dropped a pin here. It's a great tree, like a lot of old growth trees, not super old like you'd find in like Great Neck, Little Neck, but are really nice for the price. And 5s and 6s are pretty common. You might find them creeping below 4 in the smallest ones, but this is one of those neighborhoods that you could have gotten them for 4 or 5 before. Now it's 5 and 6. It's a great neighborhood. And you can find them cheaper than that, but just keep in context the size and all that. So 475 is not out of the question. Even 460, 470, but it's going to be a little bit smaller house. But I love this area closest to Princess Anne. I like other neighborhoods that are close, like which one am I missing? Hunt Club Farm right here, which is fine. This neighborhood's fine. I like it. It's fine. But I personally prefer Red Mill and like being closer to the Red Mill Commons and the neighborhood itself, the type of neighborhood itself over Hunt Club Farm. It's a little bit more expensive, but I would rather pay personally for that than what you find over here. So just dropping a pin. It's fine. It's nice. The lots are fine. It's a perfectly fine. The neighborhood's great, but I just prefer Red Mill Farm a little bit better. So there's some others that are, neighborhoods that are close. Southgate, I like Southgate, which is also close to here, also near Nemo Parkway, but just not the same to me as I just like Red Mill Farm a lot for what you're paying. And again, you're still close to Princess Anne Rec Center. So in addition to that, Shore Drive. Yes. Okay, cool. Going back to where are you from? Guys, thanks for the feedback. Where are you guys watching from? I love that feedback. So going back to the next one, the next rec center is going to be over towards Bow Creek, which is over into the more of the central part of Virginia Beach. London Bridge, where are we talking about? Where is zooming out? Windsor Woods. There it is. I'm going to say right here, right? There we are. Bow Creek Rec Center. Still got it. So the neighborhoods around here are cheap. You'll find something like, I don't know if I like that area. If you want cheap property, $300 to $400 price range, you can find it in Princess Anne Plaza. That's not the neighborhood I was going to mention. It was actually going to be where are you? Lynnhaven Woods. There we go. Princess Anne Plaza is fine because it's close to Bow Creek, but it's also close to a lot of things, a lot of houses. It's just nice to be central to other parts of Virginia Beach and close to Lynnhaven Mall and not paying too much. But I like Lynnhaven Woods better for what you're paying. Now, Lynnhaven Woods is closer to like 475, 500. You could have gotten them before in the low fours. Now it's in the mid to upper fours into the 5 range. But I like the ranch style houses in here. Let's just drop a pin. I like the lot sizes in here. You're going to be talking 2,000 square feet, 22, 24 for that 475, 525 price range. But I like the vibe in here is nice for the price. It's not overly expensive compared to what you might find maybe over in parts of Kempsville like Fairfield, in the 6 range. But 475, 500, I do like what you can find in Lynnhaven Woods. The drawback here is going to be, and I want to mention some drawbacks too, is jet noise, because you're in the higher jet noise zone range relative to the Oceana Naval Air Station, because Oceana is right here, which, by the way, same goes for the beach, by the way. If you're getting close to the beach, people forget, you want to live close to the beach, probably be dealing with some jet noise. But over here towards Lynnhaven Woods you get jet noise as well. Anything around Lynnhaven, just be prepared for it. You're going to hear it. Even like I was talking to a client I'm helping now, Chesapeake Colony, which is right here, this peninsula that jets out. It's the nice neighborhood, but you're going to have some jet noise. Just so be prepared for that. And so it kind of bothers me. I prefer to be away from that a bit. But anyway, I want to do some videos talking more in depth about the jets and kind of some spots, but that's for a future video. So the next one is going to be Fox Run. Okay. I've not talked much about Fox Run, and I should. I should. Now, the reason I like Fox Run is, let's zoom in. It's close to Kempsville Rec Center. Where is Kempsville? Where is it? Where are we? Hello, there it is. Lark Downs Park right here. You got Kempsville Rec Center right here. One of the more recently renovated rec centers in Virginia Beach. There it is. This was kind of an old, kind of a wreck until like a few years ago. And then they just turned it into like this awesome kind of new. It's awesome. And it's got a lot of the same things as the other rec centers has, but it's just a newer, I guess, almost the newest, I think could be. But around here, you're going to have a lot of nice neighborhoods, 450 to 550, 6 range. But one of my favorites for the price is just north of here, Fox Run, right here and around Christopher Arch, Rosecroft Street, Edwin Drive. Edwin Drive's a busy road, Box Hill, all through here. It's not a big neighborhood, but you're going to have for the 475, 500 price range, maybe 450 to 500, you're going to be in a nice spot. Some of these houses are going to be 460, 470, so that you can get maybe a little bit cheaper house, but great neighborhood for the price. Like, again, taking out the rec center, really nice vibe in Fox Hill, or Fox Run, excuse me. Fox Hill's up in Hampton, and you can even see it. Like, if the sun sets in the right angle in Fox Run, it just feels really nice. There's the tree combo with the sun setting. It feels nice knowing you're not paying a lot as much as you need to be in the same area. Because there are some areas around here like Bellamy Manor Plantation, 650. Same goes with Larkspur, 550 to 650. You're starting to see them all push into the sevens in some cases, but Fox Run is smashed between Larkspur on one side, Bellamy Manor over here too. Where is it? And all Bellamy Manor is over here, excuse me, estates. And you're smashed in between, which is, I like that. I like that vibe of being smashed between two higher priced neighborhoods. You can get that in Fox Run and being close to, you can get to the rec center, like right down the street. Fun fact, the previous president had come here, stopped traffic for hours. It was a just wacky day. If you lived in Virginia Beach, especially around Virginia Beach or Kempsville, you couldn't get home. Like you couldn't get home. You had to stay home or else you would have been stuck in traffic for hours. Well, he came to the rec center and you could, a lot of people biked and walked from the neighborhood around Fox Run and Bellamy Manor, and the motorcade came through Marlboro Drive. I think they came straight through here. I was right here, right close to the Kempsville Rec Center. I was standing right here. They had this long line of bikers of Secret Service or the motorcade parked right here, and they just zoomed in, zoomed out, and then eventually the president came through. I saw his face driving up into pulling up into the rec center. They were doing a function outside in a tarp or a covered area outside right here. I think it was right there in the parking lot area. It was fun. It was just fun to be a part of that, but it was just backed up a lot. But people in the neighborhoods just sat there and watched, and it was kind of a cool place, and it was a very central location. And I think that's why they did it there, because you can get in and out there pretty easily. It's a great illustration of what Kempsville is like. You're close to Princess Anne Road, a big road, but you're also close to 264. You can bounce in, bounce out, 264, boom, 64, boom. You're up and around. I love being close to Kempsville. It's great. It's great. So that's it. Any more comments? Thanks for watching, guys. You've powered through a whole hour. Thanks a lot. And my voice is feeling real good right now. It's feeling real good. I could go for another hour. Yeah, but I won't. I got to eat. I got to eat, guys. I haven't eaten today. Since lunch. New Jersey. Sorry, this is off topic. Do you work with midterm rentals? Looking for a place close to Newport News Shipyard in a safe area? Bike to work is a plus. To be honest with you, I do not. But midterm, here's what I suggest. I do help people that are trying to move here and are renting to then buy. I try and do that as much as I can, but I try and give advice for people that want to rent. If you want to rent and do short term to then buy, like midterm, like 6 month, and then to leverage into buying, the best place, and this might sound crazy, the best place that I would suggest looking is Zillow. Why? Because through Zillow and other places like Zillow also, but Zillow does give you the opportunity to talk to owners faster than you can talk to other if you go on the MLS, you're going to talk to a real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent and I'm not, hey, I know we can be annoying and we're just sometimes an extra hoop to get through to what you want, which is the rent. You want to rent to this place. Well, if you can talk to a landlord straight, Zillow offers probably the best way to do that. If you can talk to them directly, you can work out something that maybe an agent might not be as willing to let you, or be as willing to suggest to their tenant or their landlord. So Zillow has been great, and so I would try there. And there are some corporate rental places like that have furnished rental units. There might be other options. But otherwise, there are some places on MLS that might have like a shorter term. Again, 6 months is the most common other than a whole year, but maybe month to month. But again, just keep in mind, if they do that, ask yourself the question, why? So you might wonder if you're doing it sight unseen, just be a little bit wary of where the areas are. Just get talk to get some good advice, just research the areas and make sure you know where you want. Fish, thanks, Sam. You're welcome. You're very welcome. It's a weird reaction. You're welcome. Love talking to all you guys. Thank you. How about Town Center? Love Town Center being close to town center is great. I will say that Pembroke Meadows is a neighborhood close to town center that I think is a bit overrated. I just think that it is kind of barren with trees. You're going to pay about 500 to be there, 475 to 500 for like a 2,000, 2,200 square foot house. Not really a big fan of that neighborhood for the lack of trees, for which, I think you can get other spots that have more trees in it. And I just like that better. That's not, if you don't want leaves covering your yards, I guess that would make Princess Anne or Pembroke Meadows more of an option. But anyways, how do rec centers work? Do you pay a membership to use the facilities? Yes. So you have to go in there. You have it. If you have a member, or if you have a license, ID, it's proof of residence. I think you just would need an ID, maybe two forms like ID and maybe a bill, like a water bill or something, to show you live there. And then you can just pay there, and they'll give you like a lanyard, or I can't remember. I guess it's a lanyard for a year membership. And it's that easy. You go and scan your membership right in through the front gate door, and then you do your thing. So yeah. Thank you, Sam. You're welcome, Lady Night Queen, you're welcome. You're welcome. Barb Pulliam, you are also very welcome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. And Lee May, thank you. You're very welcome. Guys, I love this. An hour. We made it. I made it. And I'm going to have some food. It's late, but I'm going to have some late dinner. And thanks for watching. I look forward to watching you, or look forward to making videos on the next week on Wednesdays. I do this every week. Oh yeah. I want to put my comments here below for my phone number. If you have any questions about relocating to the area, this is what I do. I say this in every video. I love helping people relocate to the area, help people buy and sell real estate. That's what I do on my day-to-day. And so I love this because it's just a great way to help to acclimate someone to the area and feel like a local without ever having been here before. So that's my goal. And my email address is here. Send me an email, and you can check out my website as well. But email, call, text, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. I love helping. If you, again, plan to move to the area and you want to relocate here, let me help you build a plan for the relocation process, because it does help me in order to help you better, starting a little bit earlier in the process to get you that plan, and especially the acclimation process for when you come to visit to figure out where you want to live. I can help you earlier in the process before just coming here and just, like coming here and say, hey, where are the places to check out? I want to be able to help you before that, so you can feel confident when you get here when you visit, know where to focus on and not, because it's easy because of how big the Hampton Roads area is. And the Hampton Roads is Virginia Beach through Williamsburg. You can get lost and get focused on places that you might not have wanted to focus on if you had known more about the area beyond just even what I say in the videos. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not sure who you are. If you think I can tell, I don't know based on your profile, your name. So Newa Girl, best realtor ever. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And if I've helped you, I'm grateful. Thank you for letting me help you. And that's it for tonight. And if you have any more questions, again, drop a comments below. Rizma, hey Rizma. Hey, good to see you. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any more comments, if you're watching later, drop a comment below and say where you're from, or just reach out. I'd love to help you relocate to the area. And that's it for tonight. And I will see you on the next video next Wednesday, every Wednesday. And it's been that way for the last 6 years, and for any foreseeable future, 6 years, 20 years later. Bye.